Welcome to the Daily Videcasting. Today, the UK government is on the brink of collapse. The US takes the global oil crown, but citizens are footing the bill, and Elon Musk is predicting a 10x economic explosion, well, assuming we can avoid World War III.
Yeah, that's a pretty big if, right?
Yeah.
But look, the headlines always want you looking at the politicians. Today, we're tracking the money.
Exactly, because while you're out there paying, almost $6 at the pump and drowning in mortgage interest, the global elite are playing a completely different game of leverage.
Right, and we're looking at a massive day in the data. I mean, we've got shifting empires, capital flight, and an AI arms race that is just completely ignoring geopolitical borders.
Yeah, the real question for this deep dive isn't just what the headlines say, it's who is actually profiting from all this chaos and what those second-order effects mean for your wallet.
Let's get right into it.
So let's start with these geopolitical tremors right at the top of the board, because this is a perfect example of how fast the ground shifts. I was looking at the prediction markets this morning, specifically at Polymarket, and they are flagging a massive potential power vacuum.
Oh, the UK data.
Yeah, we're seeing these unverified but highly traded reports that UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer plans to resign on Monday. This is supposedly driven by some incredibly weak local elections and Andy Burnham's by-election win.
Right.
Now, obviously, we are strictly reporting the market data here, impartial as always, but at Polymarket, they're currently pricing in an 89% probability that Starmer exits office by the end of June 2026.
I mean, an 89% probability is basically as close to a sure thing as prediction markets ever get.
It's basically a lock.
Yeah, but the second order effect here is what fascinates me.
Sure.
You don't just, swap out a G7 prime minister without creating an economic vacuum. Markets crave stability above everything else. So when a nation faces plummeting approval ratings and a cabinet demanding a transition timetable over a single weekend, you have to immediately look at capital flight.
Let's break that down mechanically for a second. When you say capital flight, what is actually happening in the hours before a resignation like this hits the press?
It means institutional money is moving its chips fast. Hedge funds, currency traders, massive pension funds, they start hedging against the British pound.
Right?
They move assets into the US dollar or maybe gold. Because while the political theater plays out on TV, the smart money knows a leadership vacuum means delayed policies. It means frozen infrastructure spending.
And potential trade friction, I imagine.
Exactly. The politicians worry about the optics, right?
Yeah.
The market just worries about the leverage.
Speaking of global leverage, let's pivot to the energy markets, because the disconnect between the macro headlines and the micro reality for the listener today is it's glaring.
Oh, the oil data. Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah. According to data posted by @Kelshi, the U.S. has officially surpassed Russia as the world's largest oil exporter. We are talking 10.5 million barrels per day compared to Russia's 7 million.
Driven by record domestic shale output.
Right, exceeding 13 million barrels a day. But wait, hold on. I have to push back on this. If we are pumping record numbers domestically, why are you, the listener, still paying like $3.70 to $6 a gallon at the pump?
Yeah, that's the painful part.
Supply is way up, so the price should be down. That is basic economics.
Well, it's basic economics if you assume the energy market is designed for domestic consumer relief, which it isn't.
Right.
It's designed for global macro dominance. This milestone isn't about making your commute to work cheaper.
So where is all that oil actually going then?
You have to look at the global variables right now. The U.S. is deliberately offsetting Saudi supply disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz.
Ah, okay.
It's aggressively filling the void left by sanctioned Russian oil to keep European allies fueled. It's covering shortfalls from Ukrainian attacks on refineries.
So becoming the top exporter is essentially a geopolitical weapon.
Exactly. It gives the U.S. immense leverage over foreign governments because we control the tap. The domestic price you pay at the pump is effectively the tax the average citizen absorbs to fund that global leverage.
Wow. So the oil companies profit, the state gains power, and the consumer just eats the friction.
Pretty much.
Okay, let's stay on this concept of capital being used as leverage, because Bill Ackman had a viral post today that is just tearing through the feeds.
Oh, the Iran fund.
Yeah. He is questioning this massive diplomatic push by the Trump administration to create a $300 billion reconstruction fund for Iran. Now, Ackman points out that the U.S. isn't actually contributing the cash.
Right.
When he's asking why Gulf states or Qatar, who have been directly targeted by Iran in the past, why would they ever invest a penny in rebuilding it? Help me understand the math here. If the U.S. isn't paying for it, why is Ackman sounding the alarm?
Well, Ackman is highlighting a foundational concept in economics called fungibility. And let's look at this purely from a risk analysis standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Completely stripping the partisan politics away.
Sure, just the mechanics of the money.
Right. His core thesis is that money is fungible, meaning $1 is interchangeable with another.
Like, if you give me $100 to buy groceries, it suddenly frees up the $100 in my checking account to go buy, I don't know, a new television.
Precisely. So if external actors like the Gulf states come in and fund the rebuilding of Iran's civilian infrastructure, like hospitals, roads, power grids.
It mathematically frees up Iran's domestic capital.
Exactly. The state no longer has to spend its own money on its citizens. That capital can then be seamlessly redirected toward, say, rebuilding ballistic missiles or funding proxy groups.
Wow.
The risk Ackman is pointing out isn't about who writes the check for the concrete. It's about what that check allows the recipient government to do with their suddenly freed up funds.
It is the ultimate shell game. These macro systems are playing with hundreds of billions of dollars, moving capital around to create leverage.
Yeah.
But let's take that concept where the system extracts value while minimizing its own risk, and let's bring it right to the listener's front door.
The wealth divide.
Yeah, because it's staring us right in the face today. At Derek Evans for WV posted this jarring breakdown of an average American family's mortgage.
I saw this. It's brutal.
It really is. They bought a home with an FHA loan for $138,000 at a 6.99% interest rate. In their first year, they sent the bank $9,286.
And how much went to the principal?
After interest, taxes, and insurance, only $952 went toward the principal. I read that and my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah.
How does someone pay over $9,000 and keep less than $1,000 in actual equity?
Because the system is humming along exactly as designed.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the replies to that post, financial experts correctly point out that this is called front-loaded amortization.
Right.
It's standard practice. It is written into literally every set of closing documents.
Standard practice or not, it feels incredibly predatory. Break down why the math actually works that way.
When you take out a traditional mortgage, your interest is calculated on the remaining principal balance, right? In month one, your balance is the absolute highest it will ever be.
Ah, so the bank takes its massive cut of interest right off the top.
Exactly, right off your monthly payment. As the years go on, the balance slowly shrinks, so the interest portion of your payment shrinks and the principal portion grows.
So it's mathematically logical.
It is, but the real-world effect is that the bank secures its profit immediately. The risk is entirely shouldered by the homeowner, who builds almost zero equity in those critical first few years.
It just leaves the average American so vulnerable to a high-interest system, they're basically just renting their own debt.
Renting their own debt. That's a brutal way to phrase it, but it's completely accurate.
Now, contrast that $952 in home equity with the absolute stratosphere of the ultra-rich, because the illusion of how billionaires actually live is also getting shattered in the feeds today.
You're talking about the private jets post?
Yes. At Molly S. O'Shea posted a breakdown of the economics of private jets. You might think tech billionaires from OpenAI or SpaceX are just dropping cash on brand new $80 million Gulfstreams.
But they aren't.
No, they buy pre-owned jets for like $35 million to $85 million. Why? Because the annual running costs alone, maintenance, hangars, pilots, fuel, hit anywhere from $2 million to $4 million a year.
Which perfectly connects to a fascinating query posed by Ekham in Cuban today. He asked the AI, Grok, to analyze the top 10 wealthiest Americans and determine what percentage of their net worth is actually founder stock.
And what did it say?
Grok confirmed it is 90% to 100%.
Wow.
These individuals do not have $50 billion sitting in a checking account. Their wealth is illiquid. It is entirely tied up in the equity of the companies they founded.
So their net worth is really just a reflection of market risk and the perceived future value of their companies.
Yeah.
Okay, but wait. If all their money is tied up in stock, how are they buying the $40 million private jet and paying $3 million a year to fly it? Are they just selling off massive chunks of shares every time they need cash?
No, and this is the ultimate aha moment of billionaire leverage. It's a strategy often called buy, borrow, die.
Oh.
Yeah, if a billionaire sells $100 million of stock to buy a jet, they trigger massive capital gains taxes. They might lose 20% or more right off the top to the government.
So what do they do instead?
They go to a bank and take out a massive loan, using their founder stock as collateral.
Ah, because the interest rate on the loan is significantly lower than the tax rate on selling the stock.
Exactly. They get the cash for the jet, they keep their stock, which continues to grow in value, and they legally avoid the massive tax hit.
That is just a completely different tier of financial leverage than the family paying a 7% mortgage and gaining zero equity.
It's two different worlds entirely.
And yet, there is a massive defense of this capitalist structure trending right alongside it today. At Joe Rogan, HQ shared a clip of Jeff Bezos arguing that his for-profit companies, like Amazon and Blue Origin, do vastly more for society and civilization than his direct charitable giving.
Right.
And on top of that, at WSJ shared an op-ed from Elise Stefanik praising Elon Musk's SpaceX IPO, calling him one of the greatest capitalists and inventors of humankind.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, regardless of where you fall politically, we're just looking at the arguments here. The core argument being made is that this massive concentration of wealth is just the necessary engine for human progress. Is that true, or is that just the elite justifying the system?
Well, it's the age-old debate of efficiency versus equity. The argument that Bezos and Stefanik's piece represent is that extreme wealth accumulation is a feature, not a bug, of rapid innovation.
Meaning philanthropy is too slow.
Philanthropy is often inefficient. It patches holes in a sinking ship. A hyperscaled for-profit company, in theory, builds a better ship.
Yeah.
It drives systemic infrastructure changes, whether that's revolutionizing global logistics with two-day shipping or cutting the cost of space travel with reusable rockets.
But the second-order effect is the destruction of legacy retail businesses or the total privatization of space.
Right. The market dictates that the builder of the system gets to own the value of the system. We tolerate the immense wealth inequality because we collectively desire the technological leaps those companies provide.
Which brings us to perhaps the most staggering technological leap of the day, straight from the builder himself.
The Musk prediction.
Yes. Peter Diamandis posted a clip from the Abundance Summit, and Elon Musk is making a wild prediction. He states that the global economy will grow 10 times its current size in the next 10 years, alongside establishing a moon base.
Yeah, assuming we don't blow ourselves up in World War III.
Right, that was his only caveat. But I have to stop and question the math here. The global economy right now is roughly $100 trillion. Are we seriously supposed to believe we are going to hit a quadrillion-dollar global economy in a single decade?
It sounds insane.
It sounds mathematically impossible. How do you even scale labor that fast to produce that much value?
Under traditional economic models, you can't. A 10x economic explosion in a single decade completely defies historical precedent.
Right.
For that to happen, you have to entirely decouple economic growth from human population growth. You have to remove the human bottleneck.
And that brings us to the labor solution.
Exactly.
Because you need something to actually do the work. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, was featured in a clip posted by @XFreeze today, responding to Musk's vision of having one humanoid robot for every person on Earth.
And Huang went even further.
He did. He didn't just agree. He said one isn't enough. We need more than one robot per person to staff factories 247 and solve the global labor shortage.
It is just wild to visualize.
I mean, think about this. It's like transitioning from the horse to the tractor. But this time, the tractor drives itself, builds the other tractors, and works the night shift without asking for overtime.
That is the perfect analogy. We are looking at the total automation of physical labor. If a company can deploy fleets of humanoid robots that don't need healthcare, don't require sleep, and never unionize.
The marginal cost of production plummets towards zero.
Exactly. While physical output scales infinitely. That is literally the only mechanical way you get a 10x economy.
But wait, that raises a terrifying, cynical question. If human labor is entirely devalued and replaced by robots, who is earning the wages to actually buy the cheap products that the robots are making?
That is the trillion-dollar question that the tech elite conveniently leave out of these summit presentations.
Yeah.
But there's an even more urgent issue at play right now. Who controls the digital brains operating those billions of robots?
Exactly. Because Vadim Strasius shared a serious warning today from the CEO of Perplexity regarding the AI arms race.
And the warning is blunt.
Very blunt. China has caught up. He points specifically to DeepSeek, which is Z.AI's GLM 5.2 model. The specs they're citing say it has a 1 million token context window and is nearing Claude Opus 4.8 levels in reasoning.
Okay, let's translate that into plain English.
Yeah, what does a million tokens actually mean for the listener?
Think of the context window as the AI's short-term memory during a single conversation. A million tokens is roughly equivalent to 750,000 words.
Holy cow.
That means you could feed this AI the entire Harry Potter series back to back in a single prompt, and it could analyze the whole thing without forgetting what happened on page 1.
Wow.
It allows the AI to process massive code bases, huge legal documents, or complex factory logistics all at once.
Okay, so the tech is incredibly powerful, but here is where it gets really interesting. This Chinese model is open source,
Right.
and American developers are actively building their software on it right now.
This is the ultimate geopolitical curveball. The United States government spent the last few years trying to blockade advanced chips and AI technology from reaching China to maintain dominance.
And the Perplexity CEO is basically saying it didn't work.
Yeah. They not only caught up, they open-sourced their top model for free. This means the foundation of the next wave of American software could theoretically be built on Chinese architecture.
It's dependency leverage.
Exactly. It's a brilliant strategic move by China. By giving away the best open-source model, they create a global dependency on their architecture. It completely undercuts the walled gardens of Western tech giants like Google and Meta.
And the Western giants are scrambling to fortify those walls. You look at developers like Thibault from OpenAI, posted by @THSotio, who just teased that their current Codex app was built with what he called okay-ish front-end models.
Okay.
He is promising massive upgrades to UI and UX code generation that will completely change how we build apps. It is a full-blown sprint to see who can own the developer ecosystem.
Because whoever owns the ecosystem owns the operating system for that 10x automated world we just talked about.
Let's bring this all down to daily human behavior, though. We are talking about massive geopolitical shifts, AI context windows, robot labor forces. But how does this incredible tech actually fit into our daily lives?
We'll look at the AR sports post.
Yes, @NathyVR posted footage of a user watching the FIFA Club World Cup using the MetaQuest DAZN app. It is wild.
It looks crazy.
They are projecting a live, real-time 3D soccer game right onto a living room table using augmented reality. You literally have little holographic players running around next to your coffee cup.
It is visually arresting, I'll give it that.
Oh.
But we have to question if this is a genuine paradigm shift in entertainment or just an over-engineered gimmick. Look at the friction involved.
Friction meaning the effort required to actually use it.
Yes. Do people actually want to strap a heavy headset to their face to watch miniature tabletop holograms by themselves?
Probably not.
Or do they just want a massive high-definition flat screen they can easily share with friends sitting on the couch next to them? Sometimes the tech industry builds things just because they can mathematically solve a problem.
Completely ignoring whether human behavior actually demands the solution. That is a fantastic point. Tech solving a problem no one actually has. But speaking of soccer, human behavior, and friction, @Trung T Fan had a post that absolutely blew my mind today.
The Messi clip.
Yeah. He highlighted a documentary clip where the legendary manager Pep Guardiola defends Lionel Messi's infamous lazy walking on the pitch.
People constantly criticize Messi for that.
They do, because data shows he runs far less than other elite players. But Guardiola points out he isn't resting. He is scanning the pitch, moving his head constantly, mapping the weaknesses in the opposing back four.
Conserving his energy.
Exactly, conserving his physical energy for the exact perfect moment to strike.
It is a profound masterclass in high-level strategy, and it applies far beyond sports.
Yeah.
We have this toxic modern obsession with constant action. The idea that if you aren't sweating or if you aren't sending 50 emails a day to look busy, you aren't working.
Right.
Messi proves the exact opposite. The highest value comes from gathering data before acting.
It's positioning over exertion.
Exactly. He treats the game like a complex ecosystem. He finds the point of maximum leverage before spending his capital, which, in his case, is physical energy. He lets the game reveal its inefficiencies, and then he exploits them.
I love that. Gathering data to find the point of maximum leverage. But let me play devil's advocate here. What happens when the systems we rely on every single day completely ignore the data they are gathering?
Oh, this is the McWaters post.
Yeah. @Arthur McWaters posted a really heavy critique of the judicial system today, arguing that activist judges are literally ignoring statistical reality.
Right, and he cites a study.
A heavily referenced 2014 Swedish study showing that just 1% of the population accounts for 63% of all violent crime convictions. Furthermore, he points out that 67% of murders involve perpetrators who already have prior arrests.
The concentration is staggering.
If the math is that concentrated, if the data overwhelmingly proves that a tiny fraction of repeat offenders drive the vast majority of violent crime, why does the system continue to release them with under-guideline sentences?
Because that is where empirical data collides head-on with ideology.
Right.
We are just reporting Mick Waters' frustration here, but it's a frustration shared by anyone looking purely at the mechanics of risk. When a civic system prioritizes leniency policies or ideological outcomes over statistical reality, it breaks the social contract.
Absolutely.
If Messi operates at peak efficiency by perfectly reading the data on the pitch to win the game, McWaters is arguing that our justice systems are doing the exact opposite. They have the data, they study the data, and then they deliberately choose to ignore the optimal strategy for public safety.
It is systemic inefficiency by design.
Exactly.
And that really brings us full circle today. We are looking at a world moving at two completely different speeds.
Yeah.
On the macro level, you have the elite using immense leverage. You have the U.S. leveraging oil to control geopolitics, billionaires borrowing against their stock to avoid taxes, and tech giants sprinting toward a hyper-efficient, automated 10x economy driven by AI.
Right. While on the micro level, the everyday citizen is stuck navigating the friction.
Oh.
They are locked into front-loaded mortgages where they build no equity, they're paying the global leverage tax at the gas pump, and dealing with civic systems that actively ignore data.
So based on all of this, what is your prediction for tomorrow?
If I'm looking at the board for tomorrow, my prediction is sharp. Expect global markets to immediately price in that UK political vacuum, pulling capital toward perceived safe havens.
Like the dollar.
Yes. Meanwhile, big tech is going to completely ignore these national borders, doubling down on the AI arms race to counter China's new open-source dominance. The gap between the macro leverage and the micro reality is only going to widen.
Which leaves us with this final thought for you, the listener. If Elon Musk is right, and the global economy truly grows 10x in the next decade through AI and robotic labor, and we know that 90% of billionaire wealth is tied up in founder stock, completely insulated from the friction of the daily grind.
Yeah.
What is your strategy to make sure you aren't just the one left paying the high-interest mortgage in the automated world they are building?
Stay sharp, stay cynical, and always watch the second-order effects. Good luck out there.
Signing off from the Daily Vibecasting.